Hey everyone! In this video we are going to be solving an unknown side using Pythagorean theorem. We're going to do two different examples to show you the two different ways that Pythagorean theorem can be used. So our equation that we're going to be working with, it's a famous one. It's a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And the important part of this is that this c squared has to be our hypotenuse. So if this is our right angle, this is our little right angle right down here. We'll put that in red so it shows up real well. The hypotenuse is this, I call it my diagonal. It's the longest side, and it's always across from this right angle. So the C value is up here. The A and the B value doesn't actually matter where you put those. A and B value could be either out of side. So we can call this one the A, and we can call this one the B, but if you had switched those around and put the A up here and the B down there, it doesn't actually make a difference. The only thing that mattered is that you put the C on this hypotenuse side, which is the one that's across from the right angle. Now let's go ahead and fill in some values. A, in this case, we labeled it down here with this 12. Keeping in mind, it could have just as easily been up here. It doesn't matter. The A and B sides are the ones connected to this right angle, so it doesn't matter which is which. This A, that's a 12 squared, plus our B value, that's a 6. So we have a 6 squared, and that's going to equal our C over here is our unknown. It's an x squared. We go ahead, we hit up our calculator, or you could know these, in which case I'd be really proud of you. 12 squared, 144, plus 6 squared, that's a 36, and it equals x squared. Everything's fine so far. You've been able to fill these numbers correctly into the equation. 12 squared, 6 squared, x squared. Your next step, add these two numbers together. When you add these two numbers together, you're going to have 180 equals x squared. Now, if your experience up until this point has just been solving for x, you might feel a little stuck with this x squared. But when you get to the end and it's some number equals x squared, that's our goal here, was to get this equal to x squared, because now we can take the square root of both sides, and when you take the square root of 180, it's 13.4, and I'm just rounding to the nearest tenth, and that square root undoes our square, equals x. And just like that, we have solved this hypotenuse. This x equals 13.4. Don't forget, because in this question we were given units of centimeters, we also want to stay in centimeters. Let's go ahead and do another example just where we flip this around a little bit. So now we have a second triangle here, and we've rearranged it a little bit, but what's important this time is we fill in our equation, and we have a squared plus b squared equals c squared. This time, we know our hypotenuse. We know this diagonal. This is different than before. We know this diagonal. So when we're filling our values in, we can fill in, this is C. The bottom can be A or B. It doesn't matter. Let's just go ahead and call it A, which means that this side over here is our B. X is the B value. Haha. So we fill them in. We have 14 squared plus x squared equals 20 squared. If you've gotten this far, you have filled it into the equation correctly. The only thing that is going to stop you from here on out is algebra, and we're going to work through how you do this. You still need to square these numbers. Square the 14. It's 196. So we get 196 plus x squared equals, we square the 20, that's 20 times 20, that equals 400. But this time, the numbers are not on the same side of the equation. They're on opposite sides. In order to bring this 196 over to the other side, We want this x squared all by itself. I don't want this 196 over here. It's just getting in the way. If I want to take this 196 and get rid of it, I need to subtract 196 from this side, and I need to subtract 196 from this side. 196 subtract 196, those are gone. 400 subtract 196 is going to leave me with x squared equals 204. And now we're right back where we were in the first example, where it's just x squared equals a number. We are free to do the square root of both sides, leaving us with a final answer of x equals 14.3. We can check our units. It's an m for meters, so we can fill in meters. Those are the two ways that you can do Pythagorean theorem. One of them where you're solving for the c, which is the hypotenuse, and the other one where we know the hypotenuse and we just need to rearrange it a little bit so that we can get the other side. I hope that this was helpful. Good luck solving all of your triangles, and if you have any questions at all, please feel free to leave them in the comments below.